Right, in today's session, we're going to talk about confidence. So obviously we want to try and always be as confident as possible. And one thing I try and do, even when I know that I'm not got my best stuff, I'll always try and portray. I always think the best thing you can try and do, and tell me whether I'm right with this. In my actions, when I'm going through my routine, I'm stepping into the ball, my actions, I'm trying to tell my playing partners and everyone else on the golf course, just watch what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try and just, even though I know I'm not swinging well on that particular day, I'm trying to tell my mind
I can do this.
that I can do this.
Yeah.
Now, it's not the easiest thing to do, but that's the mindset you've got to try and have, isn't it?
It is, but I think that's the end of the product. I think
Yes.
there's a couple of steps before that. Now, to me, Greg, you know, you mentioned confidence, and it's obviously a key word. What is confidence made up of? Well, a big factor in confidence is competence.
Yes.
We can't, you know, I can't sit under a tree, close my eyes and chant to myself that I'm a wonderful chef.
Right.
You wouldn't want to eat what I dished up with you because I've got no skills.
Yeah. So I'm delighted to say that the Scratch at 50 Psychology channel has partnered with Caddie. Caddie is an app that gives you access to one of the world's leading golf psychology coaches who's worked with 6 major champions and hundreds of PGA Tour, DP World Tour players from all over the world. Watch this video to the end where you can get a special offer to get access to Caddie today. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Right, so, you know, we do need to develop some skills. We need to, you know, lessons and all the rest of it. That said, I would say a lot of people have skills, but they're not accessing those skills.
Okay.
So for me, the next thing is, okay, once I've got skills, what is going to build my confidence? The key thing would be past experience. Now, when I'm out on the golf course, and this is again where we run into our brain that really doesn't care about your golf, your brain is hardwired to hold on to the bad stuff more than the good stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, that
From an evolutionary perspective.
Yeah.
You know, when we came out of
misery loves misery.
Well, there's that, but when we came out of the caves, was it more important to remember the songs around the campfire or where the saber-toothed tiger was roaming around?
Right, yeah.
There's a guy explained this to me years ago, and he said, think of it for your golf, think of it as like Teflon and Velcro. He said that the good stuff slips away like food on a Teflon pan.
Yeah.
The bad stuff that we hang on to it like Velcro.
That's so true.
Yeah. Unless we do something about it.
Yeah.
And this is where I think one of the most important things, I can't insist on anything for anybody listening, but this is as close as I would get, is this year, if you're really interested in your golf, and I know people who watch your channel are, start a journal.
Yes.
Get a journal. I mean, you know, in the Caddie we talk about this a lot.
You tell a great story about Ben Hogan, that his widow went into his room after he passed away and found all these journals where he'd written. I mean, were they ever published? Or I mean, they'd be worth a fortune, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I have it on good authority that Jack Nicklaus talked about writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Guy I worked with for a while, Paul McGinley, Ryder Cup captain, he was religious. He would have a lesson, we'd do some work, and then he said, just give me 5 minutes, and he would get his McGinley's book out and he would write in the book what he just took from that session. Practically though, for most players, the most important thing is when you've played is what questions you ask yourself.
Right.
Now most of us when we play golf is we ask ourselves, why was that so bad, or why did I 3-putt 8 or whatever. Number one starting thing I would say for everybody to do this is get your journal, and then after every round ask yourself what were the 3 best shots.
Yeah. And
actually physically write down with a bit of detail what you were focused on, etc., because you'll get good information. Write down your 3 best shots. Now what you're doing then with that diary, you're creating Velcro for the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you're starting to build a library up, and then don't be surprised. I've had players who've done this and they've written shots down in the book. So let's say they played the 12th well and they write it down, and then the next time they stand on that tee, guess what? The brain says, I've done this before. Boom. And all of a sudden, you start to just hit good shots. Because it works in reverse. Everybody listening will know that the idea of a bogey hole. So you stand on a tee, oh Jesus, I never play the 8th.
I never hit this tee shot.
I never hit this tee shot. That's just this in reverse.
Yes, of course.
You know, all that is just your brain saying we can't do this because we've not done it before. Flip that over.
Yes.
Start writing. Just honestly, the journal is so important. You start writing down what were the 3 best shots.
And would you advise to actually physically write it down rather than type it into a, because there's something about physically doing it, which probably ingrains it in your mind better, I'm thinking.
Invest in a journal.
Yeah.
You know, putting stuff in a phone or a computer is okay, but nowhere near as powerful.
No.
There's research on it. The guy called Pennebaker has written extensively about this, that when we write in a book, there's a far more engagement with it.
Yes.
Than when we just tap stuff in a computer.
Yeah,
I know that's a harder sell in the modern world, but honestly, I would go as far as to say, if there's one common ingredient with players I've worked with who've done well, it's they've kept journals.
Yeah. And only write the positive stuff in from the day.
You can write the positive stuff, but there's a lady called Pia Nielsen, and she's big into journals, but she has three great questions she gets players to ask after a round. And the 3 questions are good, better, how. So what was good today?
Yeah.
So you could write down what was good about maybe your attitude or your whatever.
Yeah.
What needs to be better?
Yes.
Well, my sand play needs to be better. I was struggling.
Because identifying your weaknesses
you're not
is very important.
You're not denying your weaknesses then. So good, better, how. The how bit's the key. You've identified you need to improve your bunker play. How am I going to do that? Right, I'm going to book a lesson.
Yes.
I'm going to understand how the bounce works on a sand wedge. I'm going to understand the mechanics of good bunker play.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an action. The journal gives you direction with your practice as well.
Yeah. And how often would you say to go back and read that journal? And when would you read that journal? When you're struggling and you're looking to go back and go, well, yeah, actually, I've done this before. I've written it down there. I can do it again.
It's a really good point, that, because I think when we're in a bit of a bad spell, we never think we've played well.
No, that's right.
You know, and actually, if you go to your journal, you think, bloody hell, actually, I can play this game.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, this false narrative of I'm useless. But what I would say is that if you write your 3 good shots in there and you revisit it regularly, you're creating such strong Velcro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus, he said that. I mean, he won the Masters, what, 5 times, 6 times, whatever it was.
Yeah, 6, I think.
I think it was 6, yeah. And he always said that he only needed to drive down Magnolia Lane. He said, and all the memories came flooding back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he'd got such strong associations with that. You know, he would be one of those. There's a sliding scale, I think, with people where, you know, you've got people over here who really, really hang on to the bad stuff and don't recognise any of the good stuff. No. And then there's outliers like Nicholas who are probably automatically a bit the other way. Yeah. For most of us, we need to do the work, really. Yeah. Do you know what? We're talking about golf here, Craig, but I mean, the benefits of us, you know, journaling are just far outweigh just
it's a great thing to do in life, isn't
it's a great thing to do in life. You know, the research on gratitude and things like that is really, really powerful.
Yeah, that's another great bit of advice from today's session. After every round of golf, and it doesn't have to be your competition round, it can be your practice rounds, write down in there the things that you did well, the things that you need to work on. You know, as Carl said, you know, that bogey hole that you've got, it's just the same as every other golf hole on the course. You've just got to try and get into a better, positive mindset about how to deal with that situation. And by writing a journal, putting all these notes, showing yourself that you've done these things before, means that you'll be better equipped to do them again in the future. Hope you enjoyed that episode of the Golf Psychology Sessions. If you want to get continued advice from Carl, you can subscribe to the Mind Caddie app. Go into the description of this video for a special offer as a viewer or subscriber of the Scratch at 50 Psychology channel.